Back, this is Digital Dragon. I am actually doing a different video than I normally do. Usually I do gaming videos and that's all I have on my channel right now. But starting today, because it is Thanksgiving weekend in Canada, I'm actually going to be making a holiday feast. So to start with, I'm going to be putting in the spice mix for the turkey. So to start it off, you do need about two tablespoons of seasoning salt. Again, all this is to taste because you want to know what you like. This is my ingredient list and measurements. What's up? You do what's up to what's works best for you. So seasoning salt, about 2 tablespoons of dill because I like dill. Some sage, some chives, oregano, poultry seasoning. Don't need much because you got a lot of the other ingredients. Some dried red onions. I got, or if you go with this, just use mince up chives. Some lemon pepper mix, turkey, and a couple little knobs of ginger. I don't like too much of a ginger taste. Let's do a customary mix. Doesn't need to be mixed a lot because you're going to be mixing it more with the hand when you get the bird when you start preparing the bird. This is just the seasoning mix. Again, this is mine. Of course, you add salt and pepper to taste. Of course. Fresh ground pepper. This is for like a 20-pound turkey. So need a lot of pepper. And then freshly ground pink Himalayan pink salt. Again, salt's up to you. I prefer sea salt, and that's what this is. Of course, keep the seasonings on hand if you want to add more or less. If you want to add more later on down the road. Alright, so that's the seasoning mix. Alright, second camera angle. Alright, so this is where we're going to put the things for the turkey. We're actually putting the turkey together. Sorry, I had a video playing. Had to turn it off. Alright, so with this, we're going to put some water in the base of this. About a cup. This is a electric turkey roaster. If you don't have an electric turkey roaster, you just have a regular turkey roast, like a Dutch oven turkey roaster type thing. We're same way, just using the oven instead. Then I usually use 7-Up or ginger ale, or 7-Up or Mountain Dew or Sprite. One of those. Don't have any right now. I only have ginger ale. Works as well. Alright, and then take a couple shallots. These don't need to be cut that good. They just need to be cut and peeled. Because these are shallots, they are small onions. Normally, if you use a regular onion, like a regular sized red onion, just cut it in quarters. These ones just cut it in half. Sorry, my camera fell. This will imbue the basting liquid with a nice oniony flavor. And shallots actually have a more oniony flavor than, say, yellow onions, even though they're smaller. So if you don't like onions that much, like you don't like but you like the taste, you just don't like eating onions, which is understandable, not everyone does, then using shallots actually would work to your benefits. Because they're small enough where you don't need to have big pieces in. So then, take your turkey. Sorry. I have just a young turkey. Normally I go with butterball, but they didn't have any that were stuffingless, that were not stuffed. And I'm making my own stuffing. I'm not going to cook the stuffing in the turkey, because stuffing takes too long to cook. And you'll dry out the turkey before the breast is done. Or before the stuffing's done. Now that the turkey's out of the packaging, sorry, it's taking a little bit. One plastic, you don't want any of the plastic bits in this. In my turkey, there's a plastic bit that holds together the legs. Of course, in here you want to take out the bag of gizzards. Wherever the bag is. Usually it's found up near the neck. Alright, so one of the things that you want to do, mainly because it'll help crisp up the skin, is to separate the, and you're gonna get your fingers dirty, your fingers messy. So you want to put your finger, you want to put, like, remove the, or sorry, not remove, separate the skin or from the meat. So you're gonna want to have to put, you're gonna want to put gloves on. I don't have any, so I'm used to doing this without having gloves on. So just dig your fingers underneath the skin, separate from the meat, because you want to season the meat and the skin. And while you're doing this, if there's any feather ends in there, in the skin, you can remove them now. So when we made the spice mix, you want to put that, you want to coat it with butter, like the skin. You want to coat the meat with butter, and then and then season on the inside for the turkey and the outside. You want to do a whole season. You want to season the whole bird, not just the inside or just the outside, because this will give you more flavors. And yeah, separating the skin from the meat will pull it, but that's fine. I wash my hands before making the compound butter. All right. Just removing the extra feather, or the feather ends that's been stuck in here. The feather, part of the feathers that are stuck in the bird. All right. There. So now to mix the compound butter for the... And for this, because you want to control your own seasonings, go with unsalted butter and real butter, not just non-margarine. I guess you could use margarine, but I don't. But again, personal preference. It's completely up to you. This is just what I do. Because when you're cooking, all things is to your taste, not anyone else's. Basically, what compound butter is, it's butter with a seasoning mix. Like with a certain kind, with any seasoning. Mixed into the butter. So you have to actually mix it in. Best to use softened butter, because it makes mixing so much easier. Doesn't need to be melted butter. Actually, shouldn't be melted butter. And then just lather that compound butter all over the meat. Get everywhere that you can reach in there on the meat of the bird. Just to give it a nice buttery taste. Then lather the bird in it. Or lather the skin in it. Because that'll actually help the skin to be nice and juicy. Like I said, best to use gloves. Tips doing this. Okay, then you tuck the wingtips under the bird. And put the turkey in the turkey roaster. Beautiful turkey. Then, of course, optionally, you can add more seasonings, again, to taste. And freshly ground salt and pepper. Alright, so then, of course, gotta use tin foil. Even though it's in a turkey roaster, still want to put still want to cover it in tin foil. Alright, so cover it, put the lid on. So that the reason why you cover it in the tin foil is to lock in all the steam that'll come out. So that you're not so that you don't have to baste it as often, which means that you don't have to uncover it as often, which will actually let out a lot of the moisture and it'll start actually drying it out. So you don't actually need to use the you don't actually have to use the baster that often this way. I only use it once, but some people use it like 5 or 6 times, which doesn't help. Alright, so take the turkey roaster, fine. I put it under the range hood mainly because, well, it makes things easier for me. Okay, so you put this up to 250, let it go for 3 hours. Hey Google, please set a timer for 3 hours.
Alright, 3 hours. Starting now.
Alright, so that'll just sit there, and I'll set another timer for an hour and a half so that I can baste it that one time. So it stays in there for 3 hours until it comes just before it comes up to temperature, which is around 150-ish at the thickest part of the breast. And then after that, it goes into the oven at 400 for half an hour to brown it. And then you'll see, once it comes out of the oven, how nicely done it is and how juicy the breast is. Of course, after you're done with cooking the turkey, you do have to let it rest. Because if it doesn't rest, then the dark meat's not going to come up to temperature because the dark meat cooks slower than the white meat. So when the white meat's up to temperature, the dark meat's still going to have carryover cooking to bring dark meat up to temperature. So you do have to let it sit for about 15 minutes to half an hour just to let the dark meat come up to temperature, and then you can serve it. I will be cutting into it once it's done so that I can show you what I mean by it's really juicy. 3.5 hours in the turkey roaster, half an hour in the oven at 400, and then half an hour covered with tinfoil to let it rest. Now what we have to do is carve the turkey. And it is beautifully brown and the skin is nice and crispy. I just need to find a dish. Okay, with the turkey, right in the center there's a breastbone. So you want to find the side of the breastbone and cut along that. And just cut along until the ribs until you got the piece. Then you don't want to carve it at the table. That just makes things so much harder. This is a watermelon knife. It's serrated, so makes cutting a lot easier. I do it. I cut my, or I do it my turkey this way mainly because when you cook it upside down, it actually, because a lot of people cook it upside down to keep the meat nice and juicy. I understand that. However, cooking it upside down actually makes the juices go into the skin and make the skin rubbery. But you don't want rubbery skin. And then, of course, cut on the other side of this bone, this breastbone. Same thing with the other side, just nice, even cuts. Around the breast. Leaving as little, like, you gotta cut as close to the bone as possible to leave as little meat on the bones as well possible. And just cutting off a piece of this white meat, really juicy. I love the nice juicy skin. And this is juicy white meat. And don't put any pressure on the knife or you'll tear the skin. Just want to glide the knife over. Let the knife do all the work. And then the dark meat. Best thing to do with the dark meat is to cut it like you would a turkey. Or chicken, because this is a turkey. Remove the leg and shred the dark meat instead of cutting it. The dark meat will just pull apart. Yeah. Turkey is not very fatty. It's a lean meat. So there is fat around the thighs because they're the fattest part of the turkey. A lot of meat on this turkey. Then the wings. Cut off the niblets. There's one wing. So wings are white meat that acts like dark meat, which is a weird combination, but that's just what it is. It's like my mother likes dark meat, but she loves the wings. So, but they're not dark meat. Again, just strip the meat, just shred the meat from the wings. If you hear that, that's the skin shattering. And there we go. In 4 hours, you have a nice plate of juicy chicken, or sorry, juicy turkey, and a completely empty carcass. Now, I'd recommend holding on to the carcass because you can do a lot of things with it. As of next week, I'm actually going to be doing turkey stock. because I'm going to be also making a soup with the turkey stock. So, this is the turkey episode. Next episode will be ham. The episode after that will be scalloped potatoes. And then it's going to be buns. Alright, well, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And, of course, hit the notification bell so you can get updated on all future videos. Thank you, and good night.